Hey guys, welcome to part 1 of combining complex fractions. I did make 2 parts for this video just because they're kind of different, combining fractions, and then in the second part we'll be solving for x using combined fractions. So this is going to be the first 2 examples on your note sheet. So some tips before we start. Make sure that you look for terms to cross out, which can help with factoring. So if you see that there's a term on the bottom where you need to cross out, like for example an x minus 2, if you look somewhere else and you see, oh, an x minus 2 might be able to cancel out here, definitely try and cross that out. When you multiply by reciprocals, you always do that when there's a division sign, so that can also help with crossing things out. And then when you see a cubic, look for other parts of cubics and other fractions, because they'll most likely cross out. So we'll go through that in a couple of examples, but let's start with the first one. So for this one, we're just going to start by factoring. So x minus 2 over x plus 3 times x plus 2 minus x plus 2 over x plus 3 times x minus 2 plus x squared plus 2x minus 3 over x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x plus 2. So we want these all to have a similar denominator because that's how we're going to be able to combine them. So as we can see, we have 2 terms in here, 2 terms in here, and 3 terms in here. So luckily for us, we have an x minus 3 in all 3 of them, which is good. And in the last one, we have both an x minus 2 and an x plus 2. So in these, we only have one x, so we have an x plus 2 here and an x minus 2 here. So this first one right here needs to get another x minus 2 in it. So we can see that we have one at the top, but we need one on the bottom too. So that means that we're going to have to multiply by another x minus 2. And in the second one, we see that we need an x plus 2 on the bottom, which means that we're going to multiply by an x plus 2 up top. And then the third one, we're just going to keep the same. So we're not going to worry about that one right now. So we are going to start by doing x minus 2, and I'm just going to say squared, over x plus 3 times x plus 2 minus, and then we have x plus 2, I'm just going to say squared, and then I forgot to put another thing here, so times x plus 2 times x minus 2, minus x plus 2 squared, over x plus 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2, and then obviously we're just going to add this at the end again, and I'm just going to factor it really quickly, x plus 3 times x minus 1 over x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x plus 2. Now, as you can see here, these all have the same denominator now, which means that we can combine them, which is good. So we're going to start by just combining the top. So I'm not even going to worry about the denominators for now. So we have x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus x squared plus 2x minus 3. So looking at just the first 2, we can see that some things are already starting to cross out. So when we actually go through this and write it all out, we can see that this is minus x squared minus 4x minus 4 plus x squared plus 2x minus 3. So already we're seeing that these first 2 x squareds are actually going to cancel out, and that our 4s are going to cancel out. So if we rewrite this, we can get negative 8x plus x squared plus 2x minus 3. And if we rewrite that, we can get x squared minus 6x minus 3. So that's going to be our top, and obviously that's not factorable. But now we need to remember the bottom, which we kind of ignored up here. So we're going to bring it back to our denominator, and we're just going to all write that over x plus 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2, and that is going to be your final answer. So there you go. So it's not always going to look as simplified as you might hope, but this is a simplified answer because the top is not going to be any more simplified, and nothing can cross out in the bottom. So this is a lot better than what we had before, therefore it's done. Moving on to our second example, this one's a little bit shorter and a little bit easier. we're first going to look at the numerator on the first fraction. So we can see that this is not going to be factorable, and we can also see that this is the second part to a cubic function, or cubic equation. So we're just going to write this as cubic, leave it as it is for now, and we can see that there's actually a cubic over here, so I'm hoping that this is going to cross out later. So the first thing to do, I think, when you have division signs is always to rewrite it in terms of multiplication signs. So we have x times 9x squared plus 6xy plus 4y squared over, and then we might as well just factor this now. So this is 3x plus 2y times 4x plus y. And then we need to write this as a times instead. So we're just going to do times, and that means we have to flip these. So we have 8x squared minus 2xy minus y squared, and we'll factor those in the next step, over 3x times 27x cubed minus 8y cubed. Okay, now we already factored this first part, so now we're going to factor the second fraction. So let's just rewrite this, x times 9x squared plus 6xy plus 4y squared all over 3x plus 2y times 4x plus y times, and then we can factor this one up here, 4x, I think this is a plus y, times 2x minus y, yep, that seems right, over 3x, and then this is a cubic, right, so we have 3x minus 2y times 9x squared plus 6xy plus 4y squared. So then when we multiply these, we can see that some things are going to start canceling out. So the 4x plus y's are going to cancel out up here, and the x's are going to cancel out down here, and our second part of our cubics are going to cancel out there. So when you're doing multiplication, you're essentially just combining these into one fraction very easily, which means that our numerators and denominators for any of the ones can cancel out. So that's why I'm canceling those out now. And then we're left with our final thing, which is 2x minus y over 3 times 3x plus 2y times 3x minus 2y, which we can simplify more to be 2x minus y over 3 times 4x squared, it's going to be 9x squared minus 4y squared. And that is going to give us our final answer because it's the most simplified. So this is the first part to your two-part video session. So if you feel good and you know how to solve fractions for x, don't worry about watching the second part, but if you feel like you want to learn how to solve fractions for x too, feel free to watch the second part.